Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to my next The 5 list. I'm going to present to all of you here on YouTube, and this is going to be the start of another little mini series of lists I'm going to be doing for my The 5 videos for the foreseeable next week or two, in between other lists and other videos on my channel. And it's going to be about the 5 video game franchises from a certain video game company that I feel need to make a return, need to make a comeback. And what better way to start this series of lists than with the king of holding back franchises, apparently, or at least one of the top contenders for said title, and that goes to Nintendo. Mario Land, various company that makes, various, franchise games and all that, so on and so forth. Nintendo. And I've made a joke about this before, probably on a video or two. I've done a video about the Nintendo Vault, like how Disney has the Disney Vault, and made about a video like that about a year and a half ago. And it kind of reigns true in here. Nintendo is one of the video game companies that has so many different video game franchises. They have so many franchises they've made since the late 70s, early 80s. From the arcade to all their various different handhelds and home consoles and whatnot, they have made a ton of different video game franchises. In the process of making such a, so many franchises, a lot of franchises haven't seen the light of day in various console generations, X amount of years, etc., etc., etc. And some of them haven't even made it outside of being a one-time release, probably not even released outside of Japan. Except for maybe on a virtual console, some sort of import, or the SNES Super Nintendo NES Classic Edition, or something like that, included as an unlockable on a game or something. But a lot of these franchises, there's a lot of Nintendo franchises that they were released quite a amount of years ago, in console generation, 2 console generations, 3 console generations, and they have not been used since. And no Nintendo fan, no gamer out there knows the exact reason why, but Nintendo always seems to, like Disney, pull a certain video game franchise out, they bring it back for a game or two, and they throw it right back in the vault like Disney for years did with their movies. Oh, it's a limited time, you can buy this. Back in the vault you go. And this is going to be my list of the 5 Nintendo franchises I feel the most deserve to make a comeback, to need to be brought back, need to make a return. And what better way for me to start on this list than a Nintendo franchise that you know, and I know, that I talk about a whole heck of a lot, and it makes me extremely happy. And I have brought it up before. I've done a series about it for its 25th anniversary a couple years ago. You know exactly what it is. It is the F-Zero franchise. Nintendo's racing game franchise that started back out on the Super Famicom, Super Nintendo back in 1990, was one of the launch games for the system alongside Pilot Wings and Super Mario World, and alongside Pilot Wings detailed the Mode 7 graphics. It then had multiple entries since then: F-Zero X, F-Zero GX, AX, GP Legend, Climax, Maximum Velocity, but has yet to have a new game since 2004's Climax, which was based off the anime and was Japan exclusive. And since 2003, home console-wise, since GX on the GameCube, it missed the Wii, it missed the DS, it missed the Wii U, it missed the 3DS, and so far it's not on the Switch yet, but it is one of Nintendo's big-time racing franchise. And I've stated this before, and multiple other people have stated this before, Nintendo has more racing game franchises than this guy. And there are other, it's not just F-Zero, they have 2, 3, 4 more other racing game franchises, like Diddy Kong Racing and Kirby's Super, Kirby, Star or whatever, and Air Ride, and like Diddy Kong Racing and Waverace and 1080 and all these different racing game franchises. But in my opinion, the one that stands above all of them and rivals and matches Mario is always going to be the F-Zero franchise. I'm nostalgic for this franchise. I love this franchise, and I see other people love this franchise too. It is one of the most requested Nintendo franchises that gamers want to see brought back. And before Star Fox even came back, it was neck and neck with Star Fox. It was always Star Fox, Waverace, Star Fox, F-Zero, Star Fox, F-Zero, neck and neck, and then they brought Star Fox Zero. So that pretty much means hopefully only a certain amount of time until we see the return of Captain Falcon, the Blue Falcon, the F-Zero Grand Prix, and every other freaking character from Jodie Summers to Dr. Stewart. It's a futuristic racing game that has a lot of, it's a harder racing game. They could, Nintendo has their more casual, friendly Mario Kart, and then for their harder time gamers, the ones that want a challenge, you guys have F-Zero. And the fans demand it, and the fans want to see a return of it, and there's so much content you can throw into it. I did a video about throwing in like custom logos and emblems and vehicles and track editor and online, Return of the Death Race. Nintendo, the ball is in your court. Bring back F-Zero, please. Number 2 on my list is going to go to another Nintendo racing game franchise, and I just mentioned it a second ago on that list, and that goes to Waverace. The first Waverace came back out on the original Game Boy back in the 90s. I don't know how many of you didn't remember that or don't know that, but the original Waverace wasn't the N64 game. It was a top-down jet ski racing game on the original Game Boy. I never played it, but I know it happened. I obviously came into the series like a lot of fans with the 64 game, and then they released Blue Storm on the GameCube. And just like F-Zero, no DS, no Wii, Wii U, 3DS, or anything entry. The last time we saw this was Blue Storm, which was released as a launch title for the GameCube. You know when the GameCube launched? 2001. It's been 16 years since we've seen anything Waverace. And I know they've thrown Ski-Doo, jet ski stuff, and Wii Sports and whatnot, but it's never going to take away from Ricky Winterborn and all the various characters from the Waverace franchise, the real world, water physics and the harder challenges going around this court and the announcer and everything. It is a totally different racing game franchise compared to like an F-Zero or a Mario Kart. Mario Kart's kart racing, F-Zero's futuristic death racing. Why can't you have a jet ski racing game, Nintendo? I don't see this requested as much as, say, F-Zero, but I personally love this franchise too, and there's a lot of people out there that want to see a return of Waverace. That was 2. My third one is going to go to RPG franchise from them. You probably know what it is, because it's been years since we saw it. The last time we saw it was in 2010, and that is Golden Sun. The last time we saw this was Dark Dawn, which was released in 2010 on the DS. It left us with a big freaking cliffhanger. It's one of Nintendo's most popular RPGs, and that's not named Pokemon or Xenoblade. Why can't we have Golden Sun back? There's a lot of fans that want to see it. They've continued the story 3 times, 2 games on the Game Boy Advance, then there's 1 on the DS. It's been 7 years, and that cliffhanger has left us freaking waiting and hoping to see Matthew and Isaac's story continue. You don't have many RPGs as it is, Nintendo. You have, like I said, Pokemon and Xenoblade, and there's stuff like Glory of Heracles and whatnot. Why can't you start bringing out more of your RPGs? I mean, I'm not hoping that you get more third-party RPGs, but you have your own too, and this is one of your biggest ones. And it can finally make the jump with Golden Sun 4 for a console handheld hybrid like the Switch. Finally continue the story, give us a freaking break off this freaking cliffhanger of 7 years or more, however long it takes you to bring out Golden Sun 4. And it is a popular RPG franchise from you, it's a popular franchise in general from you, and you guys haven't used it in a while, and it's requested pretty heavily. It's not like F-Zero levels and whatnot, but in my opinion, it comes pretty darn close to like F-Zero. It's like right below it alongside like Waverace and Custom Robo and stuff like that. So yeah, Golden Sun, bring it back, please. The next one is a personal favorite of mine, and there's only been 1 game released of it outside Japan. They released 2 of them inside Japan as a totally different name, franchise, and stuff. So there's 3 games technically, and that goes to Elite Beat Agents. It was based off the Oandan series, which basically cheerleaders, male cheerleaders, female cheerleaders that dance and use their power of music and rhythm and dance to save people from their problems. And then they made them secret agent people and brought it to America with, music that we would know. And this was such a fun rhythm game on the DS. I want to see more of it, and I know there's a lot of people that love the Elite Beat Agents. I've seen people on various cosplays of the agents and the Onan cheerleaders. I've seen people making the games online. Like you can go on a computer and find like songs to download and play on the computer. This is it's not one of the high-end franchises from them. It's not one of the most requested franchises. I see other people saying there are fans that do it. It's not like Golden Sun or F-Zero. But there are fans of this that want to see a return of Elite Beat Agents. We missed it on the freaking 3DS. Why can't we do something on the Switch? I know it doesn't have the touch controls, but Nintendo, you guys are creative. You can find a totally different way for us to learn how to play this game. You could use the motions controls or button presses or something. I mean, they've done all that stuff with the freaking Hatsune Miku games and everything. And it's so fun. These characters are so enjoyable, goofy and wacky and fun and cool and enjoyable. Fun rhythm game. We probably need more of those on the Switch. bring this franchise back because people want to see it. That was my fourth one. The fifth one is going to go to another franchise that I heavily request. Not a lot of people heavily request, and they do the other, and the company that does it inside Nintendo does do their other franchise a whole lot lately, and that goes to Advance Wars. Intelligent Systems pushes Fire Emblem entirely a whole lot lately. Awakening brought the franchise back. They pushed it with Fates and Echoes, and now we have Heroes and Warriors coming on the way. And Fire Emblem has gotten a fire, no pun intended, lit underneath it to make the franchise huge and big, and it's one of Nintendo's most popular franchises nowadays. But Advance Wars hasn't had a game since Days of Ruin on the DS. There's been 3 of them, and I know it started before that. They had like Famicom Wars on the Famicom and Super Famicom Wars, and there's Battalion Wars in terms of console releases, but I'm specifically talking about the franchise that came out since the Game Boy Advance. They had 2 of them on the Game Boy Advance, and the last one to come out was 3 of them, 4. There was 2 on the DS, 2 on the Game Boy Advance, and 2 on the DS. Dual Strike, and then Days of Ruin. Days of Ruin came out in 2009, made this game more futuristic and added some RPG elements. And we haven't seen an entry of it since, whether from the old Andy series or the new Will series from the more realistic one. It just totally disappeared. And I love Fire Emblem, and I don't want to see that affected. Intelligent Systems, if it affects you to bring this out and then it affects Fire Emblem, I hope not. You have to find a way to do both. I do not want to see Fire Emblem affected for you doing Advance Wars, but find a way to work with some other company, work with some other team, split your team down the middle, so some people work on Fire Emblem, some people want to work on Advance Wars. A lot of people want to see Advance Wars brought back, myself included. I like Fire Emblem more, but I got into Advance Wars first before I ever got into Fire Emblem, and I would love to see this franchise brought back, and a lot of gamers would too. And that's it. That's the 5 Nintendo franchises that need to make a return. They are FZero, Waverace, Golden Sun, Elite Beat Agents, and of course, Advance Wars. Put in the comment section what you guys think. Do you guys want to see these 5 franchises come back? What Nintendo franchises do you want to see? Do you want to see Teenage Snowboarding? Do you want to see Custom Robo, Chibi Robo, which is technically still being used but hasn't really been having any main entries since, the GameCube game, or other various Nintendo franchises? Maybe one of the ones I mentioned. Put in the comment section what you guys think. I'll see you all later. My name is Stephen. See you all later in my next video.